The views and opinions expressed in this video are those of the speakers and panelists, and do not necessarily reflect the position of the Ethos Institute for Public Christianity and its founding institutions and organizations.
I believe that the biographical context of these both reformers play a great role to their understanding of music. I mean, Luther was very temperate, has a very temperate personality, whereas Calvin is a man of study, and therefore he see the problem in a Christian is not having enough affection, whereas Luther see the problem in Christian life is having too much affections. So we have this totally contradicting, but we can see it as a complementary teaching. Now I move to the next slide, the consideration on the use of music in the church. This is the practical aspect of this lecture, I think. Now when we talk about aesthetic, not just about the Christian aesthetic, we usually deal about the three elements, namely the content, the structure, and the presentation, namely the way you present. Music is very unique because it is not something materialized objectively, like in the case of painting or architecture, but you have to repeat, you have to present, you have to perform in order to be able to be heard. So that's why we're talking about the presentation also, especially in music. So speaking about the content, I think this is the easiest to observe, to judge. We see the text, whether it has sound doctrines, the content is biblical or not. I think it's accessible for every Christian who learned the Bible. Without musical education, you can judge whether the doctrine is sound or not. Now recently I have a certain discussion with my fellow pastors about the new, I try to include this song in our worship book. It's called, the title, Above All. You know this song, Above All. It has been criticized by certain Reformed theologians because it ends with above all, and you don't know above all what. Before the above all, the sentence goes like, when you died on the cross, you thought about me or of me, and then above all. I try to argue that we still can use this text because when we see the beginning, the content speaks above all natures, above all lower creation, and so on. So when the text reaches you God thinks of me above all, it's relatively above all lower creatures. But the very critical Reform people said, no, it's about the glory of God. It's not about our salvation only, but it's about the glory of God. So you cannot have above all, you think of me above all, meaning are you above God as well? This debate goes on and goes on, and finally I don't want to debate because it costs a lot of energy. Okay, I said, okay, just don't use this song anymore in the worship. So this song has a potential to be beautiful contemporary worship music, but unfortunately, at the end, it's somehow vague and ambivalent and ambiguous. You can interpret this way or that way. Yeah, it's typically postmodern phenomenon. Perhaps there is no conclusion. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. The truth and the content is in the interpretation of the interpreter, and so on and so on. So it's just problematic. But if you compare it with the older hymns, it's more clear. I mean, it's clearer. You don't need any, smart interpretation to be able to understand the text. It's just simply there. I mean, I can name almost everything. Usually, I mean, how great thou art. It starts with the beautiful creation, and the second stanza it talks about the redemption in Christ, and a typical last stanza talking about the eschatological hope. So you have creation, Christology, soteriology, and at the end is about eschatology. And almost you can observe in any other hymns, but not in these contemporary hymns. Above all, ... and continue yourself, fill in the blank, and so on. We have difficulty with this song, although I want to include it actually. When you see, the problem is with the contemporary music is that it has not been tested through ages. So the difficulties is that you have to test by yourself. But music from the Baroque era, you don't need to test because it's already tested by time. You see, so it's very easy to use the older because you don't need to. It will fail anyway. It cannot be sustained by the test of time. You can use and you should use contemporary worship music because we are contemporary people. We live in this age, 2018. But you should be selective. You should consider first the text, whether it has sound doctrines or not, whether it teaches you the right gospel, and so on and so on. And the more difficult element is the talk about the musical structures. You need a certain musical background in order to understand this part. I just mentioned the three most important, namely the melody, the harmony, and the rhythm. These are the three most important. Later on, we are going to discuss about the melody of the beautiful hymn, Lead Me to Calvary. What is a beautiful melody? Now, according to the theology of creation, God created from chaos to order. So that's why, according to biblical aesthetical principle, we know that chaos is ugly and order is beautiful. This is a biblical principle. So, what is a beautiful melody? If you follow the Bible, then you should recognize a beautifully ordered pattern, which I want to show later. Now, about the harmony, I want to read with you from my book, The Place of Music. It's page 27. The principle of harmony involves the rules that regulate chord progressions, more precisely to regulate the balance between the consonant and dissonant chords. In the classical music, a dissonant chord must resolve to a consonant chord. In other words, every tension should resolve to resolution before it can move again to another tension. This aesthetic principle corresponds with the biblical worldview that after creation, Adam fell into sin, yet the fall resolved to the redemption in Christ. To have music without dissonance is unrealistic, as our world is a fallen world. Yet to have a chain of dissonances without resolution does not reflect the biblical aesthetic principles. Good biblical music with regard to harmony will consider the order of creation, fall, redemption, or from Sabbath or rest to work and back to Sabbath. The movements from Sabbath, work, Sabbath are reflected not only in the chord progression of consonants, dissonance, consonants, but also in the progression of tonic chord, other chord, and go back to the tonic chord. I quote Th.D. here. He wrote many books about theology and music. I quote, "In its small, medium, and large-scale dimension, music consists of movements from rest to instability, followed at some stage by a return to rest. One of the most important ways in which this is played out is through harmony. Music is heard according to gravitational pull or attraction of a target, namely the tonic chord." Tonic is the home key. If I play here, in C major, C major will be the tonic key, and you have the subdominant. You have the dominant, which is the G, and it goes back to the tonic, namely the C. Indeed, an extremely common structure is the progression from rest, namely home key, toward a distant place, a foreign key, and then back to rest, home key. That you have the pattern of home, away, and then home again. This biblical notion. Directionless music cannot be considered beautiful music when it is viewed from the biblical aesthetics. The same principle applies to a chain of dissonant chords without resolution. So when you apply or when you use dissonant chords, make sure that you have time to resolve it. It should be in a good order, Otherwise, your message is like there is no hope and there is no eschatological vision in this world. You just move without direction. Now I talk about the rhythm. Page 28. Just like the principle of harmony, the principle of rhythm involves the rules that regulate the beat succession, that is to regulate the succession of the strong and weak beat. For instance, in the fourth chord, you have the strong beat, the first and the third, whereas the first, of course, is stronger than the third, and you have the weaker beats, namely the second and the fourth, whereas the second is still stronger than the fourth. So in this order. The succession of the strong and weak beat is called downbeat and upbeat in music. This distinction creates a rhythmical hierarchy between the accented and unaccented beat. Naturally, the first beat is taken as the most accented beat, followed by an unaccented beat, which is called upbeat. Just as in harmony, we have dissonant chord, in rhythm we also have syncopated rhythm, that is a rhythm that de-emphasizes the downbeat and accents the upbeat instead. The insertion of syncopated rhythm, just as the insertion of dissonant chord, makes music sounds more realistic. However, the balance between the normal and syncopated rhythm should be taken care of. Excessive syncopated rhythm without resolution to the normal rhythm will confuse the beat succession, making the music sounds unnatural. So in a 4/4 meter, for instance, the natural accented beats are the first and third, while the second and the fourth are the upbeats. A good church musician will handle the use of syncopated rhythm carefully so that it will not destroy the naturalness of the music. Now about the presentation, I don't need to make a comment here. Presentation is just about the way you prepare the music. You should present it to congregation beautifully and especially before God, so that it has certain professionality in worship. Now I'm glad that many churches nowadays have not only pastor but also music ministers. Back then we don't have this kind of music minister, so everybody who has the motivation to play music, we just offer them to play the piano, and the congregation suffer during they play, ask for forgiveness. Now being molded in patience and so on and so on. But nowadays we have a better condition. Church ministers are there and they can teach the congregation how to sing beautifully, how to play music beautifully, and so on and so on. This is very important. Lastly, I want to discuss about a beautiful melody taken from the hymn Lead Me to Calvary. Now this is an example of a very beautiful melodic pattern. What can you see? Now the basic notes or the basic motive as actually just these three notes: F sharp, and then you know this. Do you know this? Yeah. Otherwise, I assume you know the song. It gets faster if you know the song, of course. We have F sharp, we have E, and we have D. So this is the the resources that the composer have. And you have here, if I may sing it in a mi re do system. You have here mi re do do fa mi, and then you have mi re do ta di dem, and then mi re do la sol, and then da da di da dum. So you have here. Oh, okay. I want to explain the first line. Yeah, it starts with mi, so mi re do, and after the mi, it increases to fa, meaning the G. Ti de da pa da di, and it repeat again. Ti de da pa, ti mi fa mi sol, mi re do fa, mi re do sol, and here you have mi re do la. You see, mi fa mi sol mi la, And of course, you cannot continue with mi, re, do, si, si. It becomes like a scale. It's not a hymn, but it's a scale. It's like an exercise. Quanz once said, if you want to make a sequence, you should stop at 3. 3 is the maximum. You cannot continue. So you have mi, fa, mi, sol, mi, la. And you have the closing do, re, mi, re, do. Do, re, mi is actually the mirror image of mi, re, do. Can you follow? So this is mi, re, do, this is do, re, mi. So it's very symmetrical. Ti, de, dum, dum, pa, da, dim, ti, de, dum, pa, di, dem, ti, de, dum, pa, da, dum, and then ta, da, di, da, dum. Okay, now I continue the, this is... Thank you. Now, where does this re, mi, fa comes from? Th.D. dam. Can you guess? Sorry? From mi, re, do, and then why fa, mi, re, and not re, mi, fa? It's the mirror image of the mi, re, do. Do, re, mi, re, do, and now you have re, mi, fa. I mean, if I, again, here you have the closing da, 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 di, da, dum. This is the mirror of this one, right? The mi, re, do you have in the beginning, and you have the do, re, mi, pa, da, da, dim, and you have it pa, da, di, dum is actually the sequence of the closure before the refrain. Da, 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 dim, te, de, di, dum. Can you follow me? Yeah? Te, de, di, dum, pa, da, da, dim. Now, this la, sol, fa, mi, or B, A, G, F sharp. I don't know whether it's my interpretation or the composer really thinks this way, but anyway, it's objectively there. May I see again? You have here mi, and then not enough. In the beginning, you have F sharp, you have G, theta, you have A, and then you have B. So you have mi, fa, sol, la, and you have here la, sol, fa, mi. So just in a short one beat, it's like the summary of the whole stanza actually. Te, de, di, tam, taken over from this motif, and you have ta, da, da, dim. We have in the beginning mi, fa, mi, sol, mi, la, and you have it la, sol, fa, mi. It's in the opposite order. Like in the Mozart, tam, pa, dam, pa, da, 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 di, tam, and then the continuation goes like tam, pa, da, te, da, de, di, da, dum. It's more beautiful rather than when you play tam, pa, dam, pa, da, 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 di, da, dim, pa, di, da, di, da, di, da, da. It doesn't sound like Mozart. Why? Because the original, you have the melody pattern like this. So tam, pa, da, da, dum, and you have pa, da, dum. But if I change tam, pa, da, dum, it becomes like a cliche. It sounds like a cliche. And you can add one more stupid continuation to disturb the Mozart fans. So you have re, mi, fa, la, sol, fa, mi, which is the summary again of the climax from the first part. Ta, da, da, dim, and this is the only repetition in the whole song. Te, de, di, da, da, ta, da, dim. And you have it. La, da, da, di, di, da, da, dum. Reminds you of the la, sol, fa, mi, which is a third different. Again, can I? Thank you. Here you have la, sol, fa, mi. Here you have do, si, la, sol. Yeah. La, da, da, dim is the sequence of B and A and G and F sharp. And if you transpose to a third, you have D and then C sharp, B and A. Can you still follow me? Or am I alone here? Ta, da, da, di, ta, di, da, da. And this third difference is actually the interval between the mi and the do. Mi, re, do. Mi, re, do is the beginning motif, right? Mi, re, do is a third different. Mi, re, do. And you have here la, da, da, di, ta, di, da, da. And then the closure, you have here do, re, mi, re, do, which is exactly the same as the closure or the ending of the first part. the Th.D, so there is a certain motivic connection between the refrain and the first part before the refrain. So it's connected in a beautifully connected beautifully. So don't change the melody because you're going to destroy this is the most beautiful that we can get. I mean this beautiful melody pattern. You can try to observe other Christian hymns as well. Also, I mean, use this kind of principle to test whether a church song has a beautiful melody or not. As you can see here, I can continue to discuss the relation between the melodical pattern and the words and so on. It is very, very rich. Maybe we don't have time here. You can read the further analysis in my book. I just continue to next session. So how to enjoy music? When we read 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 15, let's read this verse. For if I pray in a tongue, my spirit, I read from 14. For if I pray in a tongue, my spirit prays, but my mind is unfruitful. What am I to do? I will pray with my spirit, but I will pray with my mind also. I will sing praise with my spirit, but I will sing with my mind also. I will sing praise with my spirit, but I will sing with my mind also. So again, you have here the perfect integration between mind and heart. The mind and the heart, or the spirit, singing and playing with understanding. The more you understand the music, the more you can enjoy. This is contrary to the popular notion that if you don't understand, you can enjoy better. Like in the Matrix film, ignorance is bliss. The more you don't understand, the more you can enjoy. So if you know too much, you will criticize, so you cannot enjoy. But according to the biblical principle, the more you understand, the more you can enjoy. If you know the art of cooking, I believe you can appreciate more food rather than you don't know, like me. So this naive understanding of food is not comparable to the one who can understand the art of cooking. The same applies to music, to arts, to theology, to the Bible, and so on. Second point, that's why we need to observe the depth or the richness of the text. The third point, and if you have, certain or enough musical background, you can appreciate also the depth and richness of the musical structures, which are the melody, the harmony, the rhythm, and so on. And you can understand fourth point, the relation finally between the text and the music. Let me explain first the relation between the text and music before we listen to the music. So it's number 23. All we like sheep. As you know, Messiah is composed from exclusively biblical texts. If you observe the tonality, it already betrays you the knowledge of Handel. It's the talk about the sheep and so on, and it's written in the pastoral tonality, namely the F major. F major is the tonality for sheep. The tonality for pastoral background and so on, about the Beethoven Pastoral Symphony, you expect to be written in F major. So there is a certain symbolic meaning of the tonality. And if you, let's say you see the bass, tam pam pim, if I play, and so on, it's almost pictorial, as like how you call it, ship-like jumping. It's called word painting in a Baroque composition. It's very, very important. And then you have here the homophonic setting first. because the text that we read says all we like sheep, all we like sheep. So pam 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 pam, really together in a homophonic setting, and it is repeated. And then you have the below, when the text says have gone astray, you literally have the melody da ta da ta di ta da ta da da di da dum, again like a word painting of going astray. If you compare with the bass da ta di da 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 di da da ta di da dum, it's really going astray. So it's like but in a beautifully counterpoint way. It's not. It's still in a counterpoint technique to depict the picture of going astray, and then continue. And you have here the so-called circulatio, because in the Baroque era, there is a strong relation between music and rhetoric. This is unlike the Romantic music, which is more like painting, or Impressionist, which is more like painting. Baroque and classic is very much influenced by the rhetorical theory. And here you have the circulatio, and the text said we have turned. If I play on the keyboard. So it's really like a turn, and it's like going nowhere. It has no direction. It's always in the same place, without direction, without eschatological vision. And everyone to his own way. You have the same note here, everyone to his own way. It cannot be clearer, I think. It creates a certain sense of stubbornness by repeating the same note, pam, 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 I want this one. Everyone to his own way. Yeah. And then at the end, you have a typically Baroque contrast when the text reaches again. Here. And you have suddenly the adagio part. It's like a contrast. This is very typical in the Baroque composition, whether it's in painting or in music. You have the contrast here, in this case, the contrast between the tempo. So you have the faster tempo, and you have here the adagio when the text reaches, and the Lord had laid on him the iniquities of us all. Yeah, and the tonality, although this is not changed, it's still in F, but the reality is in F minor. And in the Baroque time, F minor is actually already the remotest part. I mean, without the well-tempered, the so-called well-tempered tuning, the well-tempered clavier by Bach. It's called well-tempered because you can play all the 12 tonalities. But if the keyboard is not tuned in this way, it's not tuned in well-tempered manner, then you can only play until F minor. F minor is only the remotest. You cannot play the B flat minor. It cannot be heard. I mean, the fifth is very horrible. So you have to stop at F minor. So here Handel applies F minor. So the remotest to portrays the suffering of Christ. Maybe we just hear the music. Maybe just the beginning.
You can sit down.
Yeah.
You enjoy the music.
This is the circulatio motive. Thank you for your attention.
Wow.